So, Miami Dolphins, man.
I love this team.
I caught your energy from the text. Yeah, 70 points.
Yeah, right now in football, and I'm not a team guy like you
Right,
are.
yeah.
I'm not ride or die for a team. I'm drawn to teams at any given moment, and right now the Chiefs and the Dolphins. To watch Pat Mahomes play, period, under any circumstance, and then to watch this Dolphins team play is absolutely enjoyable, man.
Well, you're going to get the best case scenario because they play this season.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're just so fun to watch, and I became interested in the Dolphins when they hired Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
I do think he's a pretty special coach. And I think he's hysterically funny, but he definitely knows what he's doing on a football field. Mm-hmm. And he's got those guys locked in. They have such weapons and so much speed, like across the board. Obviously Tyreek Hill, Waddle, who hasn't even been much of himself yet. And then the backfield guy, and I was a big Devin Archain guy from his time at Texas A&M. He's a speedy playmaking back. Mozart's an established guy in the NFL who plays with great speed. They've literally just created this hyper fast offensive team that's just tough to stop. And Tua throwing on rhythm and with anticipation is it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to watch. And knock on wood, I hope he stays healthy because this is fun football. This is one of those things that, don't be a hater. Just enjoy what these guys are doing because it's pretty special.
You gotta love it, man. I love watching them play, but I mean, I loved it last year. I mean,
yeah,
this team was good last year before Tua got hurt. I mean, that's what derailed their season. I mean, they were looking really good.
Yeah, no, the story of last season was when Tua played, the Dolphins were really good and fun to watch, but when he didn't play, they couldn't sustain his loss.
Exactly.
And he missed too much time last year for them to achieve everything they wanted. Yeah, it was a playoff team. But they got a tough draw. Had to go to Buffalo in the winter and try and win in there, which is a tall task. But
you talk about great front office work because this is not like a coincidence or a fucking like this team is built around Tua's strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Tua can't push the ball down the field, but they don't have down the field type receivers. They have guys that can catch it on 5-yard, 10-yard hitches or bubbles or screens or something and take it the distance. The key is you have to be deadly accurate where you give guys time enough and room enough to run after the catch.
And accuracy is a function of time and ball placement.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Now, you could thread a needle on a ball that gets to a guy that, is immediately tackled.
Right.
And that could be a great throw in its own way. But what the Dolphin offense, and whether it's Tua, whether it's scheme, I think it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
They create so many situations where their super fast, talented guys are catching the ball on the move.
Yeah.
And again, you say, and quite fairly, maybe he doesn't push the ball down the field, but they are so fast, they still get a couple of those a game.
No, for sure.
Where they go over the top.
For sure.
Even if it's not his biggest attribute.
Yeah, he's not a bum in that aspect. He can get the ball down the field. I'm just saying his overall strength, of course, we all know is that accuracy in short quarters.
Right.
And their defense is not a pushover either.
There's been growth on that side of the ball.
Yeah, you're looking at a fringe top 10, but really ideally top 15 defense. And when you have that offense to pair with that, you have success.
and what you have again, and you have a team that, like, when you watch them play, when you watch the interviews of the players and you see the locker room stuff after, they are a group that enjoys playing together.
There you go.
And the offense and the defense, they're going to pick each other up. They're just a very connected 53-man squad right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I hope they have continued health. And the crazy thing is, and I know, we literally had the discussion when Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins that, hey, he's not going to have Pat Mahomes throwing to him or whatever. But it's almost crazy to think, but he's just grown and grown and grown as a player. He's doing more. He's better now. But almost is it the Dolphin system, or was his did the Chiefs lose him before he really reached his full growth as a player?
Well, he's been growing. Remember, he came into the league as a specialist.
No,
Like he came into the league with big questions on whether he can even become a wide receiver. He was a punt return, kick returner for us when we drafted him with a dream and hopes that he can become a useful slot receiver.
No, I 100% agree with you. But my question is like, I felt, and I don't think we were in disagreement. You were probably stronger against him than I was, but it felt like he was already kind of at a ceiling with the Chiefs.
I did not think he was at his ceiling. It wasn't Tyreek had strong feelings on or against. My strong feelings was Patrick Mahomes will be great and greater without him. And it's not that Tyreek Hill is a bad person, a bad receiver or anything. It's just that I understand what we have. Like, I knew what I was watching. Now, Tyreek is an awesome receiver, and he's now grown to be okay, so did I think he was already a top 5 receiver then? Now he's arguably number 1 or number 2. It's Justin Jefferson and Tyreek. Did I think that? Maybe not. But that is what he has become.
But to my extent, as good as Tua's been playing, as good as Miami system, there's a part of me that's wondering, like, if this Tariq with Pat, what would we be looking at?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we will be looking at something outrageous.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still a little outrageous.
And that's what I'm saying.
But I mean,
here's the crazy. I mean, here's what you're saying. This guy has elevated himself and grown to be a top 2 receiver, almost without dispute, and he's playing in a very good situation in Miami. But to say the top 2 receiver in the football with the best quarterback of his generation, like. Why can't we see that?
You can look at the games and see what's missing. He has everything that he has with Pat, but Pat would throw him those 60, 70-yard bombs.
Right.
And you would get about 1 or 2 of those, maybe 2 or 3 of those a game. Not saying all of them connected, but they're going to attempt 2 to 3, maybe, I don't know, fucking 5 of them a game.
Well, the other one that Pat, and it's not the pure bomb, but it's like when the play breaks down, and Pat can still, like, plant his feet and throw it 60 yards on command.
Maybe not even playing his feet. Maybe it's on the run.
Yeah, but two is not
yards.
that.
No.
And there's going to be 2 or 3 of those opportunities over the course of 60 minutes that you connect one of them. That's an extra 60 yards of offense and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's the part. Like, I look at this and I'm like, my gosh, if he was still a Chief.
You hate salary cap.
I do. I hate the salary cap. I hate it.
And guess what?
What?
Tua's still on his rookie deal. Next year is up.
I know.
This is his last year. They already franchised him. This is his last year.
Oh man,
they got to pay him.
Yeah.
And if you're Tua could very well win MVP this year. Very well.
Could. Oh, if they
very
can,
well
if he plays 17 games, plays 16 games.
Yeah.
And they play in this manner. I'm not obviously 70 points a week,
right.
but yeah, who's going to get it?
And then you know what happens after that. Beep, beep, beep. Brinks truck.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the MVP. You better give it to me.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And the other argument that he has is, like, how bad the teams play when he's down.
When they were without him.
And you clearly say, well, this ain't all system because when 2 is unavailable, this doesn't look the
It's
same.
not the 49ers where they've been trying out 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks and they all look decent.
The same. Yeah.
No, there's a drop off.
Yeah, I mean, he has. I mean, if he plays at this level, like, he has every argument on his side.
Has every argument.
There's not a lot you can say especially if he goes. Knock on wood, if he goes this whole season without a concussion issue, that's the one chink you could say.
I'm going to tell you, I think Miami dropped the ball on that. Now, listen.
In what way?
You're going to have to pay a guy anyway. It's football. I understand that. So if somebody watches this in comments, I understand that point. But they had the golden opportunity to pay him this past offseason. And I know you have the concussion things, but here goes the thing. Are you going? Did you have real discussions about letting this guy go? If you did not, that was the time to pay him. You know what I mean? Because what else are you going to do? You were going to ride him for the next 3 years at the very least anyhow. Even if he came back this year and had some concussions, you weren't going to let him go.
When he had, like, the second issue, the one in the Monday or Thursday night game in Cincinnati when he hit the turf, like, there was a genuine swell of people who thought he shouldn't play again.
We talked about it.
And if you have that and I don't want this to happen, but if you have something like happen this year, like that's gonna grow more and more. That's pretty frightening. And again, if you're gonna say we're gonna give this guy $200 million guaranteed dollars or whatever that market is, and that's probably close to what it is. That's a tough pill to swallow. In a salary cap sport.
It is, but what we don't always remember is there's always injury clauses and things. Like you can get out with no penalty if he can no longer continue playing football due to injury or concussions.
Yeah, I think that you can insure those contracts.
Yeah, so you have a pillow on that end.
You do.
It's just you have to know, okay, is this our guy or not? And the earliest you can identify that, the better, because if a guy comes out and have that monster season, you're gonna have to really pay for that. Now, you gotta pay you're gonna end up paying anyway.
Well, and the other thing, it's not even like identifying that guy. Like the reality is the quarterback market like goes up every year.
Yes,
like so whether you truly identify the guy or not, like the market in 2023 is going to be different than the 2024 and so on. So part of that, I mean the inflation of quarterback salaries, as it were, is far beyond the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to have an issue. So I mean there is an argument to be said. The earlier you can do this, the better. But a lot of teams, and we talked about this in other episodes, where you're like, the top 5 or 10 paid guys, and 4 or 5 of them are not playing at the level that they're being paid, and those teams are struggling accordingly.
Yeah.
So it can be, I mean, getting that right is critical.
It's really critical, man. It's really critical, and the time to do it is now. 49ers, I mean, they just been blessed that they're able to find. I mean, this guy, Brock Purdy, I mean, he's the 7th round. He's like the cheapest of the cheapest. I mean, like you can't go to Puerto Rico and find a chick cheaper than him, man. He's a fucking steal.
Oh yeah.
And you can just load up around him, and it's ridiculous. And they have a strong team. But Miami's going to be there. They're going to, regardless. We're in this season. They're going to be there. Right now, you got to love Miami. You got to love the Chiefs. Miami have Buffalo this week. That's going to be a big test.
Sure.
I don't think they've had a test this year. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm saying that. The Chargers was a good game. I think that was a good test. That was the opener. And then you have 2, below average teams in New England. Well, Denver is just a god awful team. So they're at Buffalo.
Yeah.
That's going to show me a lot.
But here's the thing. If you're the Miami Dolphins, would you rather be at Buffalo on October 1st or at Buffalo on December 15th? Like, this is a nice piece of scheduling.
It is. Because the next time you have Buffalo, which is in the winter of the winter in January, you got them in Miami.
That's what I'm saying. That's a good thing for the Dolphins, and their brand of football.
Yeah.
So, and you look at this too, like, divisionally, the Jets are kind of like out of it already as a serious factor. And, the Patriots are very middle class to me.
They have a favorable schedule. Look at this. Yeah. Look at some of these teams on the schedule. After Buffalo, you have the Giants. You have Carolina. You do have a tough game in Philly. But right after that, you have New England. You got the Raiders on here. You got the Washington on here. Tennessee,
Not a lot of heavy hitters. And remember, this is kind of how it set up for Philadelphia last year.
It did.
When they got out of the gates, all of a sudden, a lot of those games looked pretty winnable. Yeah. And my point, though, is, again, you looked at that division at before game 1, and you feel like the Jets are a team on the rise. The Dolphins are on the rise. Buffalo has been solid for several years, and you never discount the Patriots. But like I said, already the Jets are garbage, and Patriots are like just middle class. They're not scaring anybody.
No.
And it kind of comes down to you in Buffalo. You win this game early, you get Buffalo again in the in what might be the relative heat in January down in Miami. You got to like your chances there. And
Buffalo just hasn't. They just haven't looked.
Well, they're very dominant last game.
They were. I mean, against Washington,
they showed like they looked real good, real solid in all phases. Yeah. So this will be for them. If you're going to play Miami, I'd love coming off of a game like we just had against Washington.
Oh yeah.
And whatever versus I thought the first 2 weeks they were a little. Nothing special, but again, a good 3-phase football game.
You got some confidence going into this game. Buffalo is favored by 2.5 at home. That lets you know that Vegas kind of favors Miami in this matchup by a point. Because if you're home in the NFL and it's even, they give you 3 points. So we'll see.
It is an early statement game, though.
It's early for both teams.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, for both teams, because Buffalo has kind of been the better team over the last 2 years. If they win this game, it kind of, hey, let's not get too carried away with the Dolphins. And by the same token, if the Dolphins jump on this one and win it, it really, the schedule opens up, and it's like, hey, this is the team we're chasing.
Yeah.
I like that. Probably one of the better games of the weekend, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Any other NFL